I see Peter backstage. What time did we tell Peter we were bringing him in?
I have no idea. I don't know what time Manila told him.
All right, I'm going to pop him in right now and just
go ahead and pop him in.
But here we go. Peter Coffin.
Welcome to the most unprepared podcast ever.
What time did we tell you were on?
In about 3 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm putting you backstage. All right. Or you can just hang here. Actually, you can just hang here and while we do the news. All right. So okay. So
sounds good.
So that's the Wisconsin thing that's going on.
I like your hat.
Thank you.
Major story here out of France. Marine Le Pen was found guilty. She was facing an embezzlement charge in criminal court in Paris. And the verdict not only found her guilty, but also said that she's not allowed to run for president in the next French election. That's in 2027. Now, it should be pointed out that she was ahead in the polls. It was widely expected by everybody, me included, that she was going to win the presidency in 3 years. She's currently showing 34 to 37% of the vote, which, in France, where they have zillions of parties, that puts her 10 points ahead of her nearest rival. Marine Le Pen is, of course, by French standards, a right-wing conservative and nativist. By American standards, she'd probably be a liberal Democrat. But anyway, I love her very, very French reaction. She walked out of the courtroom, shaking her head and saying, "Incroyable."
What does that mean?
It's sort of like. It literally means incredible, but the French, but what it really means is like, are you fucking kidding me? That's literally what it means.
Fair enough.
Like incredible.
Yeah, so but I mean, this obviously throws French politics into a total into a tailspin. Nobody knows what comes next. I mean, this is basically as if the Democrats had succeeded in getting Trump banned from running for president. And then, basically she's the leading contender. I mean, look, when you know French politics, this is going to have this sense of disenfranchisement is going to have the right up in arms. And they're not going to sit around and just send out tweets. I mean, the French take to the streets. There's going to be violence. There's going to be street battles. This is going to be this is a dangerous situation. And basically it's the powers that be putting their thumb on the scale. And you could say, well, it's only 5 years. She can run in 2027. Sure, I guess in 2030. But the election is in 2027. I mean, it's rough. I mean, even if you accept that they were right to do this, which, by our standards, they weren't. But
I mean, let's just call it what it is. All they're doing is following the Ukrainian model and the Romanian model. I mean, let's be honest. The best way to protect democracy, and I mean this sincerely as a right-winger, if you want to protect your democracy, then all you have to do is ban your political opposition. Why have elections? I mean, because if you elect people, you can elect the wrong people. Like you can elect someone that says, maybe we should close the borders. Maybe we should, I don't know, put the people of our country first. And you don't want that because that's not good for the people who are getting screwed over by immigration. So what you need to do, you just need to do what President Zelensky does, because he is the Winston Churchill of our time. He is the patron saint of democracy. You just ban the opposition. You shut everybody down. You ban people off of apps. You shut down opposition TV, newspapers.
That fits in with today's theme.
100%. It is the best democracy that you're able to not even have to buy. You can just steal it.
It's very simplistic and simple.
It is.
Just like streamline that democracy. Orban. When Victor Orban
democracy,
when Victor Orban
troopers terms,
democracy is messy. You don't need messy. You just need conformity. Sit down, shut up, take your medicine. We'll call you a Nazi and we'll insult you, tell you how much you suck and how much your native culture is trash and how just you are just a worthless sack of crap. If you don't want to just import the third world into your country, just sit down, shut up, and take it. That's what I take.
All right, one more. So a couple more stories very quickly. Donald Trump says he's actually serious about wanting to run for a third term. He had, quote unquote, joked about it a bunch of times, but now he's saying that I think it looks most likely that he's looking at the sort of run as vice president under Vance or someone else. Then the new president steps aside and he steps in, and it's an end run around, I guess that's the 22nd Amendment. that's I mean, he says it's a little too soon to think about it. It's never too soon to think about it. They always say that.
No.
But it's only, the truth is, if you're running for president again a third time, you got to start raising money and planning now. So, I don't know. It's
I don't know. How was that reported? Because I remember seeing something about it being a source that said this, not him in public having said it.
He did say it. He was asked.
Oh, he did.
He was asked like, "Oh, so were you just funning?"
Okay, right.
And he's like, "No. I'm looking into it." He's like, but he's like, I'm not focused on it. But he says lots of people want me to do it. He always says that. Lots of people, everybody.
So many people, they want me to do it a third time. I don't know. I might. I could. I might.
Right. Yeah. And so John Dean, who hilariously, despite being a figure from the Watergate scandal, is now an eminence grise and an elder statesman of the law, and not a stupid guy at all. I've read a couple of his books. Anyway, he says it actually goes back to a Law Journal article in 1999 where scholars got back tried to figure out how to do an end run. And apparently, according to John Dean, Hillary Clinton was thinking about having Bill be her vice president in 2016 and then stepping aside in his favor so that he could run for a third term. But then they decided, it would be gauche and tacky, and let's not do that. Although I think, frankly, they probably would have had a better chance at winning if they had done that than the way they did it with Tim Kaine.
I don't know, because I mean, sometimes Bill Clinton, sometimes there's a flash of truth and clarity with him. I mean, he might have just come out in a rally and said, "Listen, I choose other women over my wife all the time. You should do the same." So I could straight up see Bill Clinton doing that. I'm just saying. I don't think there's any love lost in that sham marriage.
Well, I think there's. I mean, I do think it's like the American version of House of Cards. That's what their marriage is like.
Yes.
I think they're a partnership. They're like they might even bone sometimes, but I think yeah.
Oh, it's a crime syndicate. I mean, all you got to do is look at their sham charity.
I think they like each other in some respect. I don't think, they wake up in the morning, dreaming of fucking each other, but that's a whole different thing.
I think they're probably more afraid of each other than liking each other. Like I would screw this other person over if I could, but I might end up committing suicide with 7 rounds to the back of my head or something. Stranger things have happened.
Like a Kazakh presidential
2 things
candidate.
can be true at one time, though. Like, I think it's probably somewhere between those things, probably both.
Yeah. So how would you divide this particular baby, Peter? Would you is it like, fear, or which one weighs heavier?
That's a good question, isn't it? Bill is, I think, motivated more by his id than like Hillary is. So I would say maybe on his end it's maybe more like, and maybe on her end it's maybe more fear.
How about mutual self-interest? It's just like
definitely that.
It's a partnership. It's a business venture.
100%.
It works. It's made over $100 million for them. So
yes, it has.
I mean,
on the back of patience.
Super impressive. And let's see, one more thing. Oh, and we would be remiss not to talk about that. Then we'll get into why we brought Peter in here. So I guess you guys have probably heard about these bodies of the ambulance workers, 14 ambulance drivers who worked for the Palestinian Red Crescent, which is the Red Cross, but in the Muslim world, and a UN agency employee have all been dug up from a mass grave created by the IDF in Gaza, and obviously, so by all accounts, including the IDF shot and they blew up these ambulances and other aid vehicle, and a fire truck too, right? So these were emergent. These are first responders. The IDF blew them up. They're claiming now that we misidentified them. That's not very credible. I'm going to say, given the incredible quality of the optics that they have and the drones and all that. But anyway, they're claiming that. What's not so good is that if they had maybe announced, we blew up, we killed some ambulance guys, that would be different. But instead, they killed them they buried them in a mass grave, hid them, and now that the mass grave has been disinterred, and the international community is pissed. Now they're like, oh well, actually, so I don't know. Does this I mean, after everything that we've seen in Gaza, does this make a difference, or is this just one more shitty thing Israel did?
They took out an entire caravan of volunteers from the International World Kitchen. Them taking out a bunch of Palestinian EMTs and paramedics is not going to be no one cares. No one cares. And that is the greatest tragedy of this whole thing. It pisses me off.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better.
All right. So, and with that, let's go ahead and bring in. So, Peter, we're going to officially, as if you weren't there before, but now
you get promoted.
All right. So let's first of all let me introduce Peter officially. Peter Coffin is a video essayist with over 250,000 YouTube subscribers, podcaster, and author. In their book Custom Reality and You, they explore how reality works in a world where profit is the driving force. Follow Peter on YouTube, Patreon, and Twitter at Peter Coffin, and buy their book on Amazon. All right, so Peter, why don't you just tell us what happened over here on Bluesky? I mean, my understanding is that Bluesky, are you permanently banned, or is it?
No, I'm not permanently banned. I made a ruckus on Twitter. I tagged Elon Musk and Bluesky in some tweets, and I think Bluesky thought, well, this would be bad if Elon Musk were to play around with this one.
So all right, so what? Let's go in order. Let's go chronological. So what happened first? You posted. Well, you wrote about the Tesla. You know, we know there's been tons of reports of individual Teslas in parking lots being vandalized with swastikas and so on.
There were a few where the tires were actually the wheels were stolen off of them. There was a parking lot where 11 of them had wheels stolen off of them. It's like a mall parking lot, not like a Tesla dealership parking lot.
Look for a guy with a lung with a
yeah. It's such a weird thing to do.
So weird. Maybe it's a Tesla owner who doesn't want to buy new tires.
Maybe
it's not a hate crime; it's a greed crime. Or and then there's also been the dealerships where they've been vandalized and set ablaze. And take it away from here.
Yeah, I mean, so it's this situation where it's not good political action. It's technically, like, if you, by the dictionary definition of terrorism, maybe not the legal one, but the dictionary definition of terrorism, it's terrorism. And what it does is it creates a situation where you scare a bunch of people, you create arguments for people to have, and you create justification for the state to crack down on dissent.
Yeah, terrorism is an act of violence designed to have to change political behavior.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. And typically,
so the question, I guess, of course, my lefty friends will all say, it's not violence if against property.
Yeah, well, I disagree with that. It can also be the threat of violence, which, if you commit property like vandalism or destruction, is a threat of violence against people. People, I think, don't take that into account always when they're talking about it. It's meant to scare people, and it's meant to create political results, or at least allegedly meant to create.
I'm the old person here. When I was a kid growing up in the Rust Belt, in a GM town, there were, when Japanese cars were starting to be imported in significant numbers.
Boy.
If you drove your Toyota to the Kroger parking lot, it might not necessarily be there intact when you got out. And that's kind of like what this feels like.
Yeah, it's intimidation. It's intended to scare people, and it has political results that it wants. I don't know that I consider it straightforwardly that. I think that there may be, because we've seen that there is some involvement of like NPOs and stuff in these protests. It may be pushed along in certain ways. I don't know if I want to make any allegations or any kind, but I suspect there may be some pushing somewhere along the line. But I think that it more or less is happening, or at least rather is being covered in the media as a means to create fear, division, and justification for the state to crack down on it, which they are. The FBI made a task force about this particular thing that could easily, once its purpose is fulfilled, let's say, like maybe, I don't know, the Patriot Act or something, it could stick around and do other things. You know, I don't like this is the type of things that I'm talking about. I'm not talking like. So anyway, I made a video to this effect. I made some posts to this effect, and I posted to Bluesky because I thought it was ironic because they hate Tesla and all that.
And Bluesky is Dorsey, right?
It was Dorsey.
Okay.
Dorsey left.
So who's in charge of Bluesky now?
I don't know who's in charge now. He left like a month or two ago. It wasn't like they launched and then he left and then he endorsed.
And Bluesky basically became a thing when Trump became president, and it was like he had this partnership with Musk, and Democrats were like, there's a place you could go outside of X that's owned by Musk. You can go to Bluesky. It's like X, but it's friendly and it's liberal.
Yeah, it's not friendly. I can tell you that.
It
is liberal. It's liberal, not friendly.
So what I was saying, if I went to Bluesky, I probably would not be welcome there with loving arms.
Most likely not, because I
even noticed you were there.
I don't like
really a very vibrant. It's not a very vibrant community.
No, well, they're active when they hate something. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Because I don't like Elon Musk, but I've been called an Elon Musk loving cunt repeatedly, and I've been told that they wish that I would die a lot of times as well, which is always nice. Like, obviously, it's the screams of the impotent, but it's whatever. So they mass reported me.
So your video was basically arguing it's bad to.
Left adventurism doesn't accomplish what you think it accomplishes. It is what my argument ultimately is.
So it's about effectiveness, is what your argument.
Absolutely, about effectiveness. They obviously don't care what my actual argument was, and were yelling at me like, you just think that political violence is unacceptable. And it's like, no, I don't think that. I think that political violence, A, that's unprompted, and B, that doesn't accomplish anything, is stupid.
Yeah.
So I have a question. So if burning a Tesla is not considered political violence, but burning an abortion clinic is, because at the end of the day, it's property damage, right? So how can one be bad, the other one be good if it's exactly the same thing?
Because of team sports. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only reason. It's in terms of legal.
I guess you could argue, I suppose, that the abortion clinic is a facility, and while it's been burned down, it's like not be able to serve the public. Whereas if the Tesla disappears, you could still drive somewhere.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that the right wing is more effective at this than the left.
Yeah. I mean, because if that's going to be the new standard, I can look as a right winger, as someone who opposes abortion. I could be like, no, I'm torching Tesla. It pollutes the atmosphere, but if I torch an abortion clinic, I'm saving lives.
But it's also
one is justified, and the other one is eco-terrorism. So
torching Teslas does not. Okay, it does not. I guess it indirectly could impact. Elon Musk, because Tesla stock could decline in price because people might be less. I mean, I have to admit, I'm less likely to buy a Tesla now because I don't want to park the thing on the street and have it be vandalized. Okay. So if a lot of people feel like me, then their sales are going to drop, and that would, hit Musk in the pocketbook. But he's got government contracts up the ass.
Exactly.
I mean, he's going to be fine no matter what.
The other thing is the idea that the stock market runs on merit is absurd. Like, that's one of the things they've said to me as like an argument against what I'm saying. It's making Tesla stock go down. It's like, have you looked at all of the stock? It's all done the same thing over the last 3 months. Like, it was all very high in December and it is all very low now. It's actually, Tesla stock is still higher than it was pre-December.
Yeah, let's not forget, this is not Musk's first dance at this ball, right? Remember the time that he did that video where he was smoking weed, and then the stock tanked because everyone's like, oh my God, they almost fired him from his own company, right? Like, oh, the boss of Tesla is a stoner, so we can't trust that guy to be a CEO.
And here's the thing, like, if you're an institutional investor, you have a lot of power in the stock market, and the stock going down, in theory, you could do something with to make more money.
Yeah, you buy more of it. You could
buy more of it. You could short it. There's like a number of options you have. including options that make it possible for you to make money off of them losing money. Like, they don't care, and it'll go back up again in a while when they can make more money with it going up. It's the same thing as the rest of the stock market. It's absurd to me that people think that's,
I mean, it's funny, right? I mean, speaking of effectiveness, and I'm really interested in this topic because, you know, I'm way left of the Democratic Party. The Democrats are, you know, so basically there's the whole question of like, what should the left do? And I see these discussions all the time, like, oh, like we need to do a general strike. We need to do a boycott, like there, you know, like a month ago. You know, don't buy anything today or whatever. And I keep pushing back, kind of like analogous to what you did in your video, Peter, and saying like, it's not like we don't have the left-wing organization. We don't have a big socialist or communist party or whatever, some left party that can organize this. And therefore you look stupid. I mean, people look at like the Birmingham bus boycott in the civil rights movement, but it worked because it worked. Right? They had a great organization, and black people did not ride those fucking buses, and they lost a lot of fucking money. And they were like, "Oh shit, we got to switch it up." This is not. It's like you should never fight a battle that you start a fight you can't win, and you can't win without an organization. Like, let's just say you were like, "Okay, we're going to do a massive, like, we're going to fuck Elon Musk 6 ways till Sunday." All right, well, and it's like systematic. Imagine with a big, like every Tesla dealership burns to the ground. Every charging station burns. Okay, well, but you can't do that.
You could make an argument of effectiveness with that at very least.
Right. This is haphazard. It's scattershot.
Well, here's my concern.
So in Mao's 3 stages of protracted revolutionary war, the first stage is organization and consolidation. And you don't do any of these things after that first stage. And I'm not necessarily saying this is revolutionary war, but I am saying that there's a reason why you have a stage of organization and consolidation. And we have not any of these movements.
We haven't even started. We have not begun.
I've been saying it for years. I used to say, like, we haven't passed level 1, but it's not. It's not a video
like, well, game. But like, what else can we do? But how about something else? Nothing. That's it.
You can't do anything. You need to build community and organizations. Like, if you don't do that, there's no purpose to any of the thoughts that you're having.
It's got to be systemic. My grandfather was in the French Resistance. They had a system, and let's be serious. The French Resistance is not why they're not speaking German in France, right? I mean, they were annoying to the Germans, but they were systematic. They were systematically annoying. Yes. But they weren't. It wasn't decisive.
Well, I mean, you brought up the Montgomery bus boycott, and that was a tremendously organized thing. Like, there was a massive amount of community involvement. There was coordination.
People walked to work. Yeah, and they carpooled, right?
Yes, I mean, it was a massive like effort on a lot of people. And organizing isn't fun or enjoyable. It's making phone calls, reminding people of shit. It's asking people questions repeatedly. It's a job, and it's not fun at all. No. And that's, I think, another part of why a lot of these people are like, well, let's do a general strike, because in their mind, a general strike would be super fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like during Occupy, there was like the whole beautiful graphic posters calling for the general strike. They were gorgeous posters. The only thing they left behind are those gorgeous posters. There was no general strike. Are you kidding me? I mean, like, last time there was an effective general strike was like in France in June 1968. That's an effective. They literally had all the college students, all the unions, and most French workers were unionized, and they all honored the strike. So, like,
France is the size of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. France is the size of like the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It's
like Texas, right? France is the size of Texas.
Well, I'm being exaggeratory. I'm just saying it's one state. It's, you know what I mean?
It's
not
Texas.
Like we are 50 state, 4 territory country. Like, you can't do a general strike in a country like that with the amount
we're too decentralized.
Yeah. It's so outside of the depth of what the organizing tactics that these people are even familiar with. Like, these people are still operating on the function or on the idea that trade unionism is like super effective. It does this thing where all you have to do is unionize people, and that's it. And it's not the magic combination now. they have so many things that make unions ineffective. There's a reason why there's so few people in unions. Is because they're not really that effective. The unions that exist now are often corporate. They're often like more or less controlled by the HR department.
Right.
It's I mean, the idea that this is the simple, straightforward path to revolution, it's absurd at this point, and none of these people are willing to accept this. The gig economy itself is such a huge hurdle to the idea to a situation that might be close to 1917, and you know what I mean? It's just like we don't have that. It doesn't exist. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the paths to take towards something like that. We have to innovate, like,
and the system's not weak the way that that Peter was, Peter the Second was in 1917. I mean, basically that system, it just sort of died as much as there was a revolution. It collapsed.
Well, it had to. That's the thing, is a lot of revolutions are at the point where, like, it's set to collapse. It has to collapse. And the revolutionary force isn't necessarily what causes the collapse. It takes advantage of the collapse, usually. Like, you have to have an enemy that you can beat in order to win.
Right, exactly. Otherwise, you just have like a 1991 where the Soviet Union collapsed, but there's no revolutionary vanguard that can take over. That's it.
Exactly.
So Peter,
I mean, that's my fear. To be completely honest with you, is what I see. I see a collapse coming. What I would love to see is for right-wing populists like me to join forces with the Center of Political Innovation. Both sides.
I mentioned that we have to innovate.
that the people who are screwing us over are the ones who are wearing the suits. My fear is, we don't ever have very many Teslas here in Montana. It's too cold. The cold kills them. They die here. This is where they come to die. Every winter. It's great. But
I live in Minnesota, and they're all over the place here. I have to say, it's not as bad as people say, because there's tons of them here.
Gotcha. That's just because of the altitude here. It's just bizarre because every year they just.
Or maybe you don't have enough charging stations, right? I mean, that might be it too.
Yeah, I mean, the closest one to where I am is 200 miles away. So I mean,
there you go.
No, that's a
there you go.
But my biggest concern is that someone like in Minnesota or someplace, they see some smut coming over, starts burning up their Teslas, and they shoot the arsonist. I mean, that could happen. I mean, that could be the spark right there.
I would not have a problem with someone doing that. Honestly.
No, I wouldn't either.
You set my car on fire, and if I'm armed, you're gonna have a hole in you.
Well, that's a normal reaction. It's like, what the fuck are you, like? You're literally doing something that's super dangerous. Those things explode.
Oh, I completely agree.
You don't just burn those things down like a regular car. They explode. Period. They all explode if you burn them down.
And if you ever see a regular car blow up,
yes, and a regular car is not exactly like, and it's worse.
But I mean,
when I drove a taxi, I came across a car that was on fire on the Queensboro Bridge, middle of the night, and there was a person. The driver was still inside cooking, and you could smell them cooking. And several of us who got there, we wanted to approach. You couldn't get within 30, 40 feet of it. And when I got home, I realized that all of my eyebrows had like burned off completely. All the hair off my arms had burned off just from being like 30, 40 feet away.
Yeah. Just what my concern is.
It's big. And the Tesla ones are worse explosions. That's the thing that's crazy. But like, it's because they're literally, the battery is made of lithium ion, which is, I mean, it holds a large amount of potential energy.
Yeah. Well, my father was a project manager for fighter jets in the Air Force, like the F-15, F-111, and so on. And he was always like, I had a rule: no batteries. Batteries explode. Batteries are bad.
I mean, as much as I own a Tesla, I own a 2020, a used Tesla, and I love it.
You're a bad man. You're so bad.
I am a bad man. I'm awful. I shouldn't have.
Are you worried about someone? I mean, when you park it on the,
I'm actually not.
Leave it unattended.
I'm actually not. In Rochester and in Minneapolis and Minnesota, there are so many Teslas here. Like, the idea that somebody would be like, yes, I will take down these Elon Musk loving people. Like this, these are very liberal cities, and I sincerely doubt that Tesla
So
ownership.
this is kind of like a Portland, Oregon kind of deal.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would sincerely doubt that Tesla ownership correlates with of Elon Musk here, because there's just too many of
Or
them.
anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, yes, that's
probably
fair too.
probably 80 or 90% of the ones that are on the streets were sold prior to 2023, right?
Oh,
I'm sure.
absolutely. I bought mine about a year ago. And he had not done his Nazi salute, quote unquote. And I'm not saying he definitely did a Nazi salute. I'm saying,
who knows?
Yeah.
I'm saying it's the pre that time. So it's just like I don't, and most of it, and you're completely right. It's a company that their first car came out in 2003. You couldn't buy it unless you were extremely rich, but it's not a new company. It's a company that has a lot of experience and a lot of customers at this point. So it's kind of like it's punishing people for something that they really can't have had something to do with, which I particularly don't like. That's something that I really, really dislike, punishing people for something that
I don't like punishing individuals. I mean,
I agree
entirely. Like that's sort of one of the things. Like my grandfather, the resistance guy, he was like, we don't kill individuals. Like, we'll kill like German soldiers, obviously.
Yeah.
But like if there's if killing a German means we would have to kill the French waiters serving him food, it's like we're gonna pass that up,
Yes.
It's like I know you have to make an omelet, you have to break some eggs, but
sure.
But like really truly, like this kind of reminds me of during the Gaza protests when Gaza anti-Israel protesters were blocking the roads to the airport. And like, okay, so if I'm on my way to catch my flight, believe me, I'm as pro-Palestinian as they come, but I'm going to be like, what is wrong with you blocking the airport?
Well, funny you should mention that. I've made several videos about that as well. And it's got
a terrible tactic.
Angry at me.
It's a stupid tactic.
It's
terrible. That's just piss off the people who you need.
It's such a bizarre. Okay. So we're talking about how we're not in a position of organization and consolidation. Who do you need to get to? You need a mass movement. You need to get to the working people, the normal person, the everyday person. And rather than do that, rather than explain why being anti-Israel and pro-Palestine is actually a pro-working class position because it interferes with our imperial government, which is oppressing the working class in this country too. Rather than bringing that message to the working people, rather than that, they're stopping them from getting to their jobs. I saw one case of somebody who had to get to their what was it? They were somebody who had a DUI. And they had to get to their meeting with what is it called when it's not you're in jail, you're on probation.
Your parole
I don't know
officer.
why I couldn't think of that word, but I could not.
Your parole officer. Probation.
Yeah,
officer.
parole. He had to get to a parole meeting and he missed it and he went to jail because of these people.
Fucking
and
hell.
Like, how could you possibly look at that as a pro-working class movement? You can't.
No,
you cannot do that.
It's also like you're trying to change hearts and minds. I mean, it reminds me of critical mass, which is the like we need to make the streets friendlier to bicyclists. I'm a bicyclist in New York City,
sure.
So I'm very sympathetic to that. They're big in San Francisco, and every Friday at rush hour, they deliberately block all the streets on the way to like the major bridges, like the Golden Gate and the Bay Bridge. And I'm always like, and when I lived in San Francisco, I was a pedestrian and a bicyclist and a driver. And it's like, when I was driving, I was like, what's wrong with you fucking idiots? Like, why are you doing this? Like, this isn't helping. It's not, no one who's sitting in that traffic is thinking, oh, those guys are right. We should have more bike lanes. No one's thinking that. Everyone's just thinking you're an asshole.
You're demonstrating the difference between someone who rides a bike and bike people.
Like, I am very pro. People who are bike people are in cars. Okay. They Uber
what I'm saying
whatever.
is I'm very pro bike or people who ride bikes. I'm very against this sort of crazy, like, I don't understand why they think that's helping. It's not. It doesn't help the cause at all.
No.
Is it because they're stupid or are they infiltrators?
Ooh.
Well,
yes.
Yes, exactly. That's the right answer. It's both. It's little column A, little column B. I feel like you end up with. I do think that to some extent, this Tesla shit is probably the result of infiltrators somewhere, but like I was alluding to that earlier, I don't feel like leftists typically. A lot of them are very lazy and don't do anything.
Yeah.
Like this is
That's
way beyond anything that they've done in years. Like sitting in the middle of the road, fine. It's annoying as shit, and I will talk about it as a big problem, but it doesn't take the kind of effort blowing up a bunch of cars does.
True. Well, this is like black bloc type stuff. It's like
exactly.
It reminds me a lot of the people who were blowing up SUVs, right? I mean, look, I'm sympathetic to that. I hate SUVs. I think for a variety of reasons. But still, it's like, what are you doing? I mean, if you want to do something systemic, I mean, I have far more sympathy to, fucking with embassies, consulates, government offices. I mean, even like, for example, if you have a protest in Washington, D.C., the odds are it's on a Saturday or a Sunday when nobody's there. No. Go there and like be loud and be annoying to the powers that be, like on a Tuesday.
No, I agree. It's also another example I typically use is veganism. Like I'm not against people having a vegan diet, but vegans who are like, they chide like people for eating meat or say like you're a bad person or you're supporting evil or what have you. It's like, do you think you're advancing your cause with this? Because you're not. You're just turning people off and making them hate you.
I tried veganism for a few years, and the reason I tried it, I don't give a shit about like the animal thing because we're carnivores.
No, absolutely.
I mean, we evolved that way. That's just science. And I know after I eat a steak, I feel smarter and better afterwards. But like, I'm going to say, like, I tried it because of the health thing. It was like, I read all these people who said, you feel sharper, more energetic. And that turned out to be somewhat true. And,
sure.
So that's a selling point.
Yeah, I once had a person tell me how bad I was for eating a steak. Being here in Montana, imagine that, eating free range cattle, and this person just went off on me, and I was like, "You should be thanking me." And she was like, "Well, why?" I said, "Because I ate that bastard. I was eating your grass, so it's a win-win."
Yeah, and obviously, there's been a lot of studies debunking the idea that, like, the cattle are really that bad for the environment and all that. I mean,
well, that doesn't mean they don't. That doesn't mean they don't keep saying it, though.
Right, true.
Well, what's more destructive? I mean, the pollution that's released by burning a Tesla or a cow farting. I mean, which one does more damage to the environment?
Well, by the way, or more to the point, if you're trying to discourage electric vehicles, I mean, electric vehicles are, without a question, a major improvement for the environment over gas, traditional gas cars. I mean, if you're trying to put Tesla out of business, I mean, that would be a major environmental setback.
It would be. They are the ones that have advanced the EV, like whether they like it or not. That's who's advanced the EV more than anybody else. And as much as I don't like the arrangement of power associated with Tesla, or as much as I don't like the guy in charge of Tesla, that doesn't stop the fact that it is objectively the company that has advanced that cause more than anything else.
Do you guys think there's conflict? I mean, I always think about that because, Biden passed he had financed a bunch of government-funded charging stations. That would have helped Tesla enormously. I mean, do you think Elon ever talks to Donald and says, like, can we get that back? Because you're really fucking with my business.
Probably. I mean, it has to be like down the line somewhere because it seems like he's been using it to his advantage in other ways. So why not that,
Or maybe it's just like, in the aggregate, he's like, okay, it'll be good. I'm good. SpaceX is doing better because of this, but Tesla is not as important as SpaceX or whatever.
Yeah. Long story short, though, this got a lot of hatred for me on. We really took the scenic route together.
Yes.
But also, it's a good discussion. It's something that needs to be had because people
need
really
to talk
do
about
need
tactics and
people need to understand this stuff doesn't help. If you want to change the arrangement of power in this, it doesn't help to just
see. They listen to us and they just think that we're whinging and just like we're trying to do something, and you're telling us that and you're not. What are you doing? And it's like, well, we're telling you what to do.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And that's what the point of my video was. They obviously ignored that. They don't watch your videos or read the things that you write. They argue with what they want you to have said. And that's what I got. And I got me mass reported on Bluesky. And I don't know if you've ever been mass reported on any platform, but it automatically takes you down.
Right. So it's
on
there's no human being who at Bluesky Central.
They give you an email that says a
DACA.
moderation team has reviewed, but like a moderation team has not reviewed.
No,
it's wild because on YouTube after the Ukraine war started, my gaming channel is called Putinbot Gaming because I was a Trump supporter. So of course, if you're a Trump supporter in 2016, you're automatically a Putin bot. Well, screw it, I will be Putin bot. So that's how I launched my channel.
Right
after the war started. I got mass reported and demonetized and shut down for like 6 months because they decided because of the Putin. It's obviously a meme. It's obviously just a troll account.
it's a joke.
100%. But the problem is the left doesn't know how to joke. I mean, they're completely unhinged. And so now I got mass reported for having the name Putinbot Gaming on a gaming channel, which I thought was hilarious. So then naturally I got reinstated. First thing I did, the next game I played, I generated Vladimir Putin as a protagonist. Going out and slaying
I want to propose something here, and Peter, I'd be curious about this. So, this happens all the time. I read with great interest an article over the weekend, I think in the New York Times, it might have been the Washington Post, about Uber drivers and Lyft drivers who they get blocked sometimes. Like if someone like just reports them and they didn't like their ride or whatever, they report it, and then suddenly the driver is out of work, right? Like, yes. And it might take or they like or like DoorDash, people like that. These gig workers that you mentioned, basically one day they're working like beasts, and then suddenly there's a stupid notification that it was automated in most cases.
Yes,
it's like nobody reviewed it. Then they have to appeal. And in some cases, it can take weeks or even months to get back to work, or maybe never at all. I think there should be federal legislation that requires that you can't be blocked from a social media outlet or demonetized, or no significant decision like this should be able to be made without human intervention from the outset.
I completely agree. But there would need to be standards set, because they could also do it via Mechanical Turk through Amazon, where you just have somebody in some other country clicking yes on everything for 3 cents.
Right.
Like there would have to be some
like the old Facebook fact checkers were like that. They were like in South Asia, and they were being asked to look at posts about the politics of Tanzania, and they didn't know anything. And
exactly, like it has to be like the requirement would have to be you have to have qualified people who actually spend time on each of these situations. Like it can't be something where it's a Mechanical Turk, because if there is a Mechanical Turk situation, it's just going to be exactly the same thing as the automated version. Now, my brother is a musician. He has a band called Appalachian Anarchy. It's like it's bluegrass metal, and he charted on Billboard, and he's actually pretty big at it. And he got he was unable to take his earnings from DistroKid is I think the name of the company, but it's a very similar situation in which because he uploaded something like incorrectly, it automatically decided he was spam, and they cut him off from his earnings, that's his job, like his actual job. And it's
automatic shit is the bane of our existence.
It's
whichever politician were to address this issue would be wildly popular.
Yes, and
like
all
when
of
I
the
travel
people
to
like
Central
you
Asia,
and me, people like you and me would be talking about it nonstop
all
too.
The time.
Because I've been demonetized. I had J6 footage in a free speech documentary, and it got taken down for weeks. And the only reason it got reinstated is because I made a big ruckus on Twitter, and I had a bunch of people tweeting at YouTube. This is not promoting anything. It's literally talking about J6 in the context of free speech, like what are the implications, etc. And I had to fight for it in order for them to give it any attention whatsoever. And that's terrible. And that's also the situation I had to do here. Like I said earlier, with this Bluesky ban, the way that I got it overturned relatively quickly because I started tweeting on Twitter at Elon Musk and Bluesky. So Bluesky knows I'm tweeting at him and Bluesky. They saw, like, if he picked up, I was banned off Bluesky for opposing terrorism, terrorism against him in particular. Like I was kind of creating a situation that he was incentivized to bite.
Oh, sure.
So to speak.
And that's very smart.
And they reinstated it very quickly.
And that thing, that automated aspect of it, my syndicate, my cartoon syndicate, I guess they have too many cartoonists now, so they decided, or not enough editors. So they have now an automated thing where they look, and so one of my cartoons got blocked because it had a swastika in it. Well, the swastika, it's an anti-fascist cartoon. No one would read it and think of it as any other way. It just shows sort of like a street scene from Nazi Germany.
Banning the producers.
Right. It's like, or banning, like, archival footage of Nazi Germany. I mean, the point is, it's like, well, look, it has a swastika. We said it had a hate symbol. So you didn't look at it, right? That's basically it. No one looked at it. That just shouldn't happen. And so I was told, instead of, when I approached them about it, instead of them saying, we'll fix that, they said, oh yeah, you should just try to avoid any cartoons that have swastikas in them going forward. And I'm like, you do realize, like, what you're telling me here, right? This is, by the way, and I love this company. I've been with them since 1996. They've only censored me twice. Okay. And that's a nice run. Okay. So this is bad technology. This is when you're trying to do everything through automation. It's like how, there's some places that you have a specific problem and, there's like, well, if you're not one of these 8 choices, tough shit. And it's like, but you may have a problem that's not one of these 8 choices.
Well, part of the problem is it's implementing market logic into these situations and automating that logic.
Mm-hmm.
So people can take advantage of it very easily in mass report, for instance, which is a lot of, in my opinion, the bane of, like, Caleb Maupin, who is also from the Center for Political Innovation. His YouTube channel is currently demonetized because he was mass reported because he said in a YouTube short that it was a mistake to designate the Houthis as terrorists. Now, whether you agree with that statement or not, that is not endorsing terrorism. It's commenting on something that happened.
That's legitimate political discourse. Obviously.
Yes, that's criticism of the Trump administration. And these people mass reported him because he said the word terrorism, and because YouTube is just indiscriminately doing whatever the hell market signals automated. And
then, of course, mass reporting, it feeds on itself, right? Like if one person with a lot of followers says everybody should go report Peter Coffin, then they have 1 million followers.
And that's what happened. That's what happened on Bluesky.
So really, it's one person. Really.
Yeah. But the point is, it's sort of a market-driven censorship, and a lot of people like to be like, it's not censorship if it's not the government, because that's in the legal definition.
I always tell those people, look up the word censorship in the dictionary. See what it says. Like, it doesn't say anything about it does not say anything about the government. It
doesn't. And that's precisely why I brought up the dictionary definition versus the legal definition when I was talking about terrorism, because the dictionary definition is the one that exists out there in the world. That's how people use it. Like, we aren't talking about legal cases here. If we were talking about legal cases, we would have to use the legal definitions of those words, but we're not. We're talking about the world and colloquial relations between people, how we speak. It's not the same thing as the law.
I censor this show. I decide who comes on and who doesn't come on, right?
Yes.
That's a form of censorship under the dictionary.
It is.
There's nothing
You're
wrong
peddling
with it.
influence, Ted. You're peddling influence.
If someone said something that I don't like, they're gone, right? So that's censorship.
Unless they pay the troll tax.
That's true.
They pay the troll tax, then you get to stay.
They got to pay the troll toll.
Yeah, that's true. We have a policy here on the Rumble chat. Like, if someone's a troll, we're like, we give them a warning. It's like, if you want to keep trolling, you got to pay a major donation.
Nice.
Otherwise, trolls are cheap, man. They don't want to pay for the privilege.
Yeah, I like it. If you're going to tell me I suck, then you have to at least give me an incentive to let you stay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like this is
What's
what
in
the
it for
internet
us?
is, right? You pay for the thing that you want, right? We're a product here ultimately, right?
We certainly are.
Like that.
Peter,
I'm not joking. I'm saying.
so
Like,
you're
we're a
back.
product
So
ultimately.
how did and we'll let you go after this, but how did Blue Sky reinstate you?
Oh, they just mysteriously did it after a while. After I tweeted for a while.
Did you get a notice? Did you get a notification, or did you just go to
I
log
got
in
an
and then you were
email.
in?
I got an email saying my account had been reinstated, but it didn't give any reasons. And I will also say that the original email when I was banned did not give me which thing I was banned for. It told me that I was banned for impersonation and spreading misinformation, but it gave me no examples. Even with Twitter, which is
You got to
kind
go
of
to
BS.
the top. So I have a colleague, Mark Fiore. He's a political cartoonist. He works in animated form. He's the only animated cartoonist who's ever gotten a Pulitzer Prize. Anyway, he was blocked from the Apple Store for doing political content, basically. And this
Right.
was when Steve Jobs was still alive. And he had it happened right after he won the Pulitzer. So someone like Steve Jobs was talking somewhere and someone said, do you know that like you blocked a Pulitzer Prize winning editorial cartoonist from the App Store? And he was like, sort of like Steve Jobs sort of grunted. And then it was like, Mark got a call like, from Cupertino. Our bad. It's all good. You're back. Don't worry. Take it to the top always.
Yeah, you have to make a big ruckus. Otherwise, there's no other way through it. My brother, I mentioned that situation. The only way he was able to do anything was he had to hire a freaking lawyer, which cost him $1,500 out of money like that he was trying. Like, he had to pay money to get his money. It's just ridiculous.
That is actually kind of awesome.
Peter,
thanks so much for joining us. Peter Coffin is a video essayist with over 250,000 YouTube subscribers, podcaster, and author. In their book, Custom Reality and You, they explore how reality works in a world where profit is the driving force. Follow Peter over on YouTube, Patreon, and Twitter at Peter Coffin. Buy the book on Amazon. Peter, thank you so much for doing this.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Real quick, Peter, since the blow up on Bluesky, has your YouTube following increased or is it still dropping?
I would say that it has gotten, like, prior to when I made the Tesla video was swarmed with negative comments. When I made the follow-up video about Bluesky, it's gotten less views, but it's gotten a lot more positive comments. So I think it may have an effect. I think it's something that we'll have to look at more in the long term, though.
Yeah. Well, I'll come subscribe to you after the show.
Leave positive comments. YouTubers are the meanest commenters in the world.
They are.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks again, though, guys.
Have a good one.
Awesome.
Right.
Thank you.
Take care. All right. That was fun.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Robbie. Thanks for sitting in for Manila. Manila, if you're watching, which I hope you're not, I hope everything works out, and we'll see you back tomorrow. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening and supporting the show. Much appreciated. Please do subscribe. Please support the show. Follow. Am I forgetting anything, Robbie?
No. I mean, I think you pretty much got all pegged, and we are live on a lot of different platforms now. So y'all if y'all like what you're seeing, just share. Appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Robbie. Bye, everyone. See you tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern time, right here on the TMI Show. Bye.